title. Peace lasted 3,000 years, then war came back. And so did humanity's smiles for 3,000 years. The galaxy was calm. The Great War had ended long ago. After that, humans stopped fighting. They closed their war bases and left the Galactic Council. Other alien races believed that humans had changed. They thought humans were now peaceful teachers, builders, and thinkers. During this long peace, the galaxy grew. New cities were built. Science and trade became more important. People learned from each other. There were no wars, no big fights. The Galactic Council made rules. Everyone followed them. The galaxy was quiet. Lena Brooks was a young woman who worked on a science ship. Her job was to study old alien languages. She loved her work. She believed in peace. She never saw a real weapon. She never saw a real battle. War was something from the past. One day, her ship, the Horizon's Gaze, was near a small moon. The crew was doing a regular check of old ruins. Lena was in the lab when the alarm rang. A voice came over the ship's speakers. It was the captain. He said unknown ships were coming. No one knew who they were. Lena ran to the control room. The screens showed many ships coming fast. They did not answer messages. The captain told everyone to stay calm. But it was too late. The first shot hit the ship. The lights went out. People screamed. Fire and smoke filled the room. Lena crawled to the escape pod. She looked back and saw the ship breaking apart. Her friends were gone. She entered the pod and launched. As she flew away, she saw the other ships attacking. They were fast and dark. They had no flags. They gave no warning. Her pod was picked up by a patrol ship 2 days later. She was hurt and weak. When they asked what happened, she said only one thing. They smiled when they fired. The officers looked at each other. They thought she was sick. But one of them, a man named Eric Shaw, remembered something. Long ago, humans were known to smile in battle. Not because they were cruel, but because they were alive. War was in their blood. It gave them focus. It gave them purpose. Eric told his commander. The commander laughed. He said war was gone, but the attacks did not stop. More science ships were hit. Communication lines were cut. Outer planets went dark. The council sent peace talks, but the messengers never came back. People started to worry. They asked, who is doing this? And where are the humans? On a faraway planet deep under the ice, a signal was received. It was old and strong. It was a warning. The system woke up. Machines started. Lights turned on. In a cold, dark room, metal boxes opened. Inside were humans. They had been sleeping a long time. Captain Kyle Brooks opened his eyes. He looked at the lights and smiled. He remembered the plan. If war ever returned, they would return to not as teachers or builders, but as warriors. He stood up and looked at his crew. They were waking slowly. One of them was Lena Price, a skilled pilot. Another was Jacob Marsh, an old engineer. They looked at Kyle and waited. He spoke in a clear voice. War is back, and so are we. Outside, the sky was dark, but in the hearts of these humans, something old was burning again. Not hate, not fear, but a smile that said they were ready. Asterisk, Captain Kyle Brooks stood on the cold floor and looked around the room. It had been quiet for a long time. Now the machines were alive. Lights blinked, screens glowed, and soft sounds came from the walls. His crew, still tired from sleep, started to move. They had not aged. Time had stopped for them inside the cryo. Chambers. Lena Price sat up and looked at her hands. She was quiet. Her last memory was the shutdown. The war was over. The world was calm. She had gone to sleep with the others, deep underground, ready to wait. She saw Kyle and smiled. "Is it time?" she asked. Kyle nodded. "Yes, war is back." Jacob Marsh rubbed his eyes and looked at the main screen. He was always the first to check systems. "Power is stable," he said. "Weapons need charging. Defense is online. We can move in 1 hour." There were more than 30 people waking up. In the bunker, some were pilots, some were soldiers, some were tech experts. They had trained for this moment long ago. They had been told one thing before sleep: if war comes back, they must return. Outside the bunker, snow fell on the ice world. No one lived on this planet. It was chosen because it was far from the core systems, hidden and safe. But the galaxy had changed while they slept. The enemy was back. The danger was real again. The signal that woke them came from a patrol ship. It sent an old code. That code was only used during war. The message was clear. Help was needed. Now, Kyle walked to the control table. A map of the galaxy appeared. Red marks showed places where attacks had happened. Small colonies were gone. Science ships were missing. Communication hubs were dark. The enemy was fast and smart, but no one knew who they were. Lena looked at the map. "This is not random," she said. "They are cutting off the outer worlds first. Then they will move in." "We need a ship," Kaio said. "We cannot fight from here." Jacob smiled. "There is one. Under the ice, deep in the mountain, there was a hangar. Inside was an old warship. Its name was Quiet Hope. It had been built for one thing only: battle. It was silent for 3,000 years. But now, the engines were warming up. It took 1 day to prepare. The crew moved fast. They cleaned the dust, checked the weapons, fixed the engines, and loaded supplies. The ship was not big, but it was strong. It had thick armor and sharp weapons. And it had something more important than all that. It had people who smiled during war. The Quiet Hope left the planet and moved into deep space. Kyle sat in the captain's chair. Lena was at the front console. Jacob watched the systems. The others were in place. All were ready. They moved toward the last attack site. It was a mining colony on a small moon. The Union had sent a scout ship there, but it never returned. The moon had gone silent. As they neared the moon, they saw the truth. The colony was gone, burned. Nothing left but metal and dust. No signals, no signs of life. But one thing was still there. A ship. It was large, black, and shaped like a blade. It floated above the surface. No lights, no name, no markings. Just silence. Kyle gave orders. "Do not fire, not yet. Let's see what it does." Lena scanned it. "I don't know this design. It's not Union. Not from any known race." Suddenly, the ship moved. It turned toward the Quiet Hope. A beam of light flashed. It was scanning them. Jacob watched the screen. "It knows we are human." Then the other ship sent a message. Just one sentence. "We remember you." Everyone on the bridge went quiet. Lena spoke softly. "They know us." "Send reply," Kyle said. "Who are you?" The screen showed a new message. "We are what you left behind. We are the forgotten. Now we return." Before Kyle could answer, the black ship fired. A bright beam hit the shields. The ship shook. Alarms rang. Shields holding, Jacob said. Weapons online. Kyle gave the order. Fire. The Quiet Hope shot back. Red beams and missile trails crossed the sky. The enemy ship moved fast, but the humans were faster. Lena flew the ship like she was born for it. She dodged attacks and returned fire. The battle lasted only 6 minutes. The enemy ship was strong, but not strong enough. A final shot from the Quiet Hope hit its core. It exploded in silence. Smoke filled the bridge. Sparks flew from a panel. Jacob fixed it with fast hands. Kyle looked at the screen. Was that the only one? Lena checked. No, I see more signals. 5 ships coming. Jacob smiled. Now it begins. Kyle stood. His eyes were sharp. His voice was calm. Send a message to the Union. Tell them humans have returned. He paused. And tell them we are smiling. The stars outside the ship were cold and wide. But inside, fire had returned to the hearts of the old warriors. Peace was gone. War had come back. And with it came the quiet, strange joy that only humans knew in battle. They had waited a long time. Now they were ready to remind the galaxy who they were. The ship Quiet Hope flew through the dark space. Its engines hummed low, and the crew was quiet. They had won the first fight, but the war had just started. 5 more enemy ships were coming. They were bigger than the last one. Kyle Brooks stood near the front window. His eyes followed the stars. He was calm. This was the place he knew best. Not a city, not a garden, but space where war moved like a shadow. Lena Price sat at the pilot controls. Her hands were steady. She had not flown for 3,000 years. But her body remembered. Her eyes watched the enemy signals. Jacob Marsh was in the engine room. He checked the power flow. He looked at the old systems with love. They were from the past, but they were strong, just like the crew. The enemy ships came fast. They had sharp shapes and black armor. No names, no lights. They looked like death. Kyle gave the order, hold your fire until they attack. The 5 ships stopped near them. Then a message came through. It had no voice, only text. It said, "This is our space now. Leave or be destroyed." Kyle replied, "You made the first move. Now we finish it." The enemy did not wait. They fired. Beams of light flashed across the stars. The Quiet Hope shook, but stayed strong. Lena moved the ship fast. She flew between the attacks like a dancer in a storm. Jacob sent more power to the shields. "Hold on," he said. "We can take this." The crew worked like one body. Weapons fired. Shields held. The ship moved fast and hit hard. They did not fight with fear. They fought with memory. This was what they had trained for. One enemy ship broke apart, then another. But the Quiet Hope was also hit. A fire started in the back. Jacob ran to stop it. Smoke filled the hall. He used a tool to cut off the fuel line. The fire died. Engine. "Stable," he said, "but we lost speed." Lena kept flying. Her face was cold, her eyes bright. She found the weak spot of the 3rd enemy ship and fired. It exploded in a flash of light. Only 2 enemy ships remained. They circled the Quiet Hope, like hunters. Then one of them stopped and sent a message. "We know you now. We were made from your war. You left us to rot. We rose from that pain." Kyle answered, "You are not us. You wear our past like a mask, but we know who we are." The enemy fired again. This time, they hit the front of the ship. The window cracked. A blast shook the bridge. Lena fell, but got up fast. Kyle held the wall and gave orders. Returned fire. Used the spike cannons. The Quiet Hope fired a new kind of weapon. Thick bolts of energy shot out. They hit the enemy ship hard. It broke in half. Only one enemy ship was left. It turned to run. "Do we chase it?" Lena asked. Kyle shook his head. "No, let it go. It will tell the others. It will say humans are not." Gone. The crew was tired. The ship was hurt, but they had won. They had shown the enemy that humans had not forgotten how to fight. Kyle sat down in the captain's chair. He looked around at his crew. "We are not just here to win battles," he said. "We are here to stop them." Lena nodded. "But to stop them, we must fight them first." Jacob walked onto the bridge, wiping smoke from his face. "We need repairs. I can fix most of it, but we need parts." Kyle pointed to the map. "There is an old supply station on the edge of this system. It was human. Maybe it still has what we need." They set course for the station. As they flew, the crew rested. They ate, cleaned wounds, and told stories from long ago. The ship was quiet, but inside, the fire still burned. They reached the station after 2 days. It was old and broken, floating near a small moon. No lights, no signals. Lena flew slowly. "I see a docking point. It looks safe." They landed and stepped inside. The halls were dark. Dust covered the walls, but the power still worked. Jacob smiled. "Told you, human tech never dies." They searched for parts. They found fuel, tools, even some food. In one room, Lena found old records, videos, messages, and photos from before the sleep. She watched one. It showed a family waving goodbye. A small boy said, "Come back soon, Dad." She turned away. Her face was hard. "We must not let this happen again," she said. Kyle placed a hand on her shoulder. "That's why we fight. Not for glory, not for power, for peace." They fixed the ship. They left the station and moved back into deep space. Their next goal was a Union outpost. They had to warn the others. The enemy was real, and more were coming as the ship flew. Kyle looked at the stars. "We are not the same as before," he said, "but we still remember who we are." The Quiet Hope moved like a ghost across the galaxy. Behind it, silence. Ahead, war. But inside, smiles began to return, the kind of smiles only humans could wear. Not because they loved war, but because they had chosen to face it and not run away. The Quiet Hope moved fast toward the Union outpost. The stars passed slowly, but the minds of the crew were sharp. Every person on board now understood the truth. The enemy was not a small problem. It was a deep storm waiting to rise. Captain Kyle Brooks stood near the front glass. He watched the stars, but his thoughts were on the people who might still be in danger. He had seen many wars in the past. This one felt different. The enemy was not just strong. They were angry, and they remembered something that the rest of the galaxy had forgotten. Lena Price sat at the pilot chair. She did not speak much now. Her eyes were always on the sensors. She did not want to be surprised again. She knew the enemy liked silence before the strike. Jacob Marsh was in the lower deck. He was fixing the backup systems and checking the new parts they had found at the old station. He whistled while he worked. It was the only sound in the room. After 2 days of travel, the Union outpost came into view. It was built inside a small asteroid. Its lights were on, but something felt wrong. No ships flew near it. No calls came. From it, "Send a message," Kyle said. Lena sent a signal. No reply came back. "Try again," Kyle said. Again, there was silence. "We are going in," Kyle said. The ship moved toward the landing bay. The doors opened, the lights were green. That meant the system still worked. Kyle took a small team with him. Lena stayed on the ship with the others. Kyle and Jacob entered the station. They walked down a long hall. The lights flickered. The air was cold. Doors were open. Tables and chairs were thrown around. There were signs of a fight. They found the command room. It was empty. A screen showed the last message sent from the outpost. Kyle played it. A man's face came up. He looked tired. Behind him, smoke rose. "We tried to stop them. They were fast. We did not understand what they wanted. They smiled while they burned the lower decks. We sent a call for help. I hope someone hears it. If not, tell Earth they are back." The message ended. Jacob looked at Kyle. "We were too late." Kyle nodded. But not too late to fight back. They took what they could from the station. Data files, fuel, and supplies. Then they left. The enemy had not destroyed the station. They had taken the people and left the rest. Back on the ship, Lena looked at the files. "The attackers came from the Varela system," she said. "That is near the center of old human space. It is not a safe place." Kyle looked at the map. "That may be why they chose it. If they hide there, they think we will not follow." Jacob asked, "Will we?" Kyle answered, "Yes, we will." The crew got ready. They checked weapons, charged shields, and cleaned their armor. They knew the next fight would be worse, but none of them backed down. 3 days later, they reached the edge of the Varela system. There was a field of broken ships near the border. Some were very old. Others were new and still smoking. Lena flew slow. There was a big battle here. Not long ago, Jacob checked the scanners. "I see power. Something is still alive in there." Then a message came. This time, it had a voice. A deep, cold voice. "You should not have come. This place is not yours." "Turn back," Kyle answered. "We do not run. We do not forget." The enemy voice replied, "Then you will die like before." Ships rose from behind the dead ones. 10 of them, all black, with no lights. They moved in a circle around the Quiet Hope. Lena held the ship steady. "They want us to feel fear," Kyle said. "Then let's show them something else." The battle started fast. The enemy fired all at once. The Quiet Hope shook. Sparks flew. Panels broke. But the ship did not fall. Kyle gave orders. Lena moved with skill. Jacob sent power where it was needed. The crew fired back. They hit one ship, then another. 2 enemy ships broke apart, but the Quiet Hope took damage. The left engine slowed. Shields dropped. Smoke filled the back room. Jacob ran into the fire. He used tools and skill to stop the heat from spreading. His hands burned, but he did not stop. "Engines back," he shouted, but not for long. Lena flew the ship into the middle of the enemy group. Kyle told the crew to use the special weapon. The spike cannon. It was old and very strong. It could fire only once. They used it now. The cannon hit the center ship. It exploded in a wide blast. 3 other ships nearby were caught in the fire. The space lit up. The last enemy ships pulled back. They were not ready for a fight like this. They had thought the humans were weak. They had thought wrong. The quiet hope floated in the dark. It was hurt, but alive. The crew was tired, but they were smiling. Kyle sent a message to the Union. We reached the Varela system. Enemy forces are strong, but not ready for real war. Humans have returned. We are not afraid. We remember what others have forgotten. The message ended. Silence returned to the ship. But in that silence, something had changed. The galaxy now knew the truth. Humans were back, and they were smiling. The quiet hope moved slowly through the damaged field of broken ships. Some of them still floated with lights blinking. Others were silent, empty metal shells. The crew worked in silence. Their bodies were tired, but their eyes were sharp. They had been through hard fights, but they were still alive, and they were not done. Captain Kyle Brooks sat in the command chair. His uniform was torn, and a line of blood dried on his cheek. But his voice was strong. He looked at the screen that showed the Varela system. We need to find their base, he said. We hit them hard, but not enough. They will regroup. Lena Price checked the long-range scanners. Her fingers moved fast. I see a signal. It's weak, but not random. It could be them. Jacob Marsh was fixing a broken panel near the back wall. He stood up. We follow it, Kyle nodded. Yes, we finish this. The signal led them to a large asteroid field. It was dense and dangerous. Many ships would turn back. But Lena flew forward. The ship moved between the rocks like it was dancing. The old ship creaked, but it held. After 2 hours, they saw it. A hidden station built into a giant asteroid. It had no lights, no signal, but it was there. Weapons were pointed out in all directions. The station was ready for war. Kyle looked at it. This is their nest. Lena spoke quietly. Too big for us alone. We are not alone, Kyle said. He pressed a button on the console. A signal was sent. It was the same old war code used to wake them. It was short. It had only 3 words. War has returned. Then they waited. Minutes passed, then hours. The enemy still had not seen them. Or maybe they had. Maybe they were waiting. Then it happened. One by one, small ships appeared on the screen, then larger ones, all shapes and sizes. Some looked old, others looked new, but all of them had the same sign on their hulls. The mark of Earth. Human ships from far places. Warships, patrol ships, even old cargo ships fitted with weapons. They had all heard the call. They had all come back. The crew of the Quiet Hope watched in silence. Then they smiled. Jacob let out a soft laugh. We are not a ghost anymore. Kyle stood up. Send message to the fleet. We strike now. The ships moved in together. Dozens of human vessels joined the Quiet Hope. They flew fast and hit hard. The enemy base fired first. Beams shot across space. Missiles followed, but the humans were ready. They flew like hunters, calm and sharp. Each ship moved with purpose. No fear, just skill. The Quiet Hope led the front. Kyle gave fast orders. Lena flew like wind. Jacob kept the power flowing even when parts broke again. Enemy ships rose from the station. There were many, more than anyone had seen before. But they were not ready for this kind of fight. They were used to soft targets. Science ships, small patrols, but now they faced war. One by one, the enemy ships fell. Some tried to run, others fought to the end. The station itself started to break apart. Explosions rocked its sides. Fire burst from its ports. Then a new signal came. It was from the enemy leader, a voice, low and angry. "You cannot stop us. You left the galaxy weak." "We took your place," Kyle answered. "You took nothing. You only waited. Now we are awake." The final strike came from a large human ship called the Iron Wind. It fired a full blast into the heart of the enemy base. The station broke in two. The explosion lit up the asteroid field. All screens went white. When it cleared, nothing was left but dust. Silence returned to space. No more enemy ships. No more hidden bases. It was over. On the Quiet Hope, the crew sat in silence. No one cheered. No one shouted. They only sat and looked at the screen. Lena spoke first. "It's done." Jacob nodded. For now, Kyle stood. His face was calm. "Send message to the Union. Tell them the enemy is broken. Tell them Earth has returned." The message was sent. Hours later, replies came from across the galaxy, from Union worlds, from old allies, from lost colonies. They had all seen the fight. They had all heard the signal, and they all knew now humans were back. Not to rule, not to burn, but to protect. The war had come again, but so had something else. Smiles, not fake ones, not the ones used in peace talks. Real ones, the kind that came when you stood up, faced the fire, and walked through it. The Quiet Hope flew back into the stars. Behind it was the dust of war. Ahead was the unknown. But for the first time in a long time, the galaxy did not feel cold. It felt ready. The Quiet Hope flew across deep space. The battle at Varela was over, but the war had left its mark. The ship was damaged. Its walls were black from smoke, and its engines made strange sounds. Still, it moved forward. Captain Kyle Brooks sat on the bridge. He looked tired. His eyes were red, but his voice was clear. "Check all systems," he said. Jacob Marsh gave a short nod. "Engines are weak, but still running. Life support is fine. Shields are at 40%. Lena Price was silent. She sat at the front, looking out into the stars. Her hands rested on the control board. She had flown through fire and darkness. Now she was waiting for the next path. A message came in. It was from the Union High Council. The voice was strong and formal. "To the crew of the Quiet Hope, your actions at Varela saved many lives. We thank you. The enemy base is gone, but we believe there are more. Stay ready." Kyle looked at the others. "We are not done." Lena turned. "Where next?" "Wherever the trail leads," Kyle said. They began moving toward the nearby system of Lunos. It was a trade point before the attacks started. Now it had gone dark. No signals, no reports. Many believed it was lost. As they reached the edge of Lunos, they saw the damage. A large station floated in pieces. Ships were broken and left to drift. No power, no signs of life. "This was fast," Jacob said. "Not a long fight." Kyle nodded. "They wanted no survivors." Lena checked the scanner. One signal, very weak. Maybe a survivor. They moved toward it. A small escape pod was found near a broken ship. They pulled it in. Inside was a young man. He wore a pilot's suit with a broken Union mark. His name tag read Noah Lane. He was hurt but awake. They gave him water and food. After some time, he spoke. They came without warning. No message, no demand, just fire. They didn't take anything, just destroyed. Kyle asked, "Did you hear them?" "Speak." Noah looked down. "Yes," one of them said, "we are the new order. The old ones must fall." Then they left. Kyle stood and thought, they are not just angry, they have a plan. They fixed what they could on the ship. The crew cleaned the broken parts and recharged weapons. Jacob worked without rest. Lena helped him when she could. 2 days later, they got a message from a small planet called Darren's Rock. It was not part of the Union. It had no army, only farmers and miners. "They are coming," the message said. "We can't stop them. Please help us." The Quiet Hope changed course. They reached the planet in 1 day. From orbit, they saw smoke rising from the ground. A small enemy ship was there. It had landed near the farms. Kyle gave the order, "Prepare to fight." They landed far from the enemy. The crew walked to the village. People ran to meet them, faces full of fear, children crying. One old man stepped forward. "They said we are not needed. They said we are from a time that should end." Kyle shook his head. "You are needed. We will protect you." The team moved quickly. They placed defense lines. Jacob set up old gun turrets. Lena taught young men and women how to use hand weapons. Kyle spoke to the crowd. "You don't need to be soldiers. You need to be strong. Hold your ground." When night came, the enemy attacked. They came with speed and fire. Their ship fired at the fields. Their fighters ran through the village. But the humans were ready. The Quiet Hope fired from above. Its weapons were not as strong as before, but they hit the enemy ship hard. On the ground, the crew and villagers fought side by side. Lena took down 2 enemy fighters. Jacob held the line near the east road. Kyle moved through the village, helping where he was needed. Noah, the young pilot, found a spot near the well. From there, he shot at the enemy with calm hands. The fight lasted all night. When the sun came up, the enemy was gone. Their ship was broken. Their fighters were dead or captured. The village stood. People cheered. Some cried. Kyle stood in the middle of them. He raised his hand. "This is how we win. Not just with ships and weapons, with people who do not give up." Lena sat near a wall and watched the children run. Her face was tired, but she smiled. Jacob joined her. "We're not just fighters, we're hope." Kyle looked at the sky. "They will come again, but now they know we are not easy to break." They stayed for 2 more days to help repair the village. They left behind food, tools, and small defense systems. When they flew away, the people waved in space. Kyle opened a new map. Red marks still showed on many systems. "We go to the next one," he said. Lena turned the ship. Jacob started the engines. Noah stood beside them. The Quiet Hope moved back into the stars. The war was not over, but hope had returned, and the smiles were still there.